नमस्कार दोस्तों, I am Dr. Sanjeev Gupta. Welcome back to my YouTube channel on which I have started a series on the corporate frauds. Friends, in my previous videos, I have covered the concept of fraud, the ingredients of fraud, the types of frauds. In this video, I will cover one of the type of frauds, while in my other videos, previous videos, I have covered the bribery and corruption, the manipulation of financial statements, and the misappropriation of assets as one of the type of corporate frauds. In this video, I will cover the frauds related to procedural lapses. Friends, what are the procedural related frauds? There are certain procedures which are required to be followed by every company. The companies are regulated by the Companies Act. The listed companies are regulated by the Companies Act as well as the SEBI Act, and the NBFC companies are required to be followed the procedures laid down by the RBI Act and the rules and regulations made the respective acts. When a company bypasses the procedures, overlaps the procedures in order to earn the money or in order to defraud the creditors as well as the bankers or the investors, that is called the procedural related frauds. What are the procedural related frauds? I have categorized number of frauds schemes which are adopted by the management or the employees to defraud the creditors as well as to make cause the losses to the company. The carrying of business activities ultravires the memorandum of association of the company. The next one is the reference to the NCLT for liquidation. NCLT means the National Company Law Tribunal. Fraudulent schemes of mergers and amalgamations, creation of shell companies. Next, the manipulation of foreign direct investments, the incentives given for the foreign exchange earnings, misuse of the foreign exchange earnings. These are the types which are covered under the procedural related frauds. There may be another frauds which can be covered under procedural related frauds, like transactions between or among the sister concerned companies, or we can say the related party transactions. But measure which are adopted by the management are carrying ultravires the objects and fraudulently going to NCLT for liquidation. Friends, one by one I will discuss in brief about how the strategies, which are the strategies adopted by the management. Please note that these type of frauds are committed only by the management, because the company is an artificial person and it is run by the natural persons. And who actually are running the companies? It is the board of directors. The shareholders, there are certain powers which are lying with the shareholders, but major powers, day-to-day affairs of the company are related to the board of directors. So, the procedural related frauds are committed by the management. Management means the board of directors or the senior persons of the company, like KMPs. Who are the KMPs? The managing director, the whole-time director, the chief financial officer, the company secretaries, or any person on whose basis the company is accustomed to act, on whose basis or on whose advice the company is accustomed to act. So, what are the ultravires? The memorandum of association of the company. Each and every company has memorandum of association, which is the basic document for a company. The memorandum of association and the articles of association of a company defines what's the name of the company, where is the registered office of the company, what are the objects of the company, what is the share capital of the company, and what is the liabilities of the company. While the articles of association of a company defines the rules and regulations, how the company's business will be run, what are the specific definitions, or if there are any agreements among the shareholders, Sometimes there are some companies which are joint venture companies or multinational companies. They have Indian partners as well as the foreign partners. So in this type of companies, the articles of associations are very carefully drafted to include the terms and conditions of the investors. And besides that, what are the powers of the board of directors? What are the powers of the shareholders? How the AGMs or the board meetings will be conducted? How the notices of the board meetings will be signed? And what are the procedure for winding up of the company? And there is another clause, that is arbitration clause. If there are dispute among the company, among the shareholders as well as among the directors or any party, the arbitration clause is also there. So these type of informations are generally provided in the memorandum and articles of association of a company. Now friends, the main purpose of the memorandum of association is to define the main objects of the company, means under which objects can be run by a company. There is an example, a person purchased a company and that company was fully assessed with income tax authorities. Now there was a inquiry from any other department to investigate the affairs of the company. The CFO and the managing director, who were very clever person, they convinced the persons who came to the company for investigation that, sir, our company is a income tax assessed company. So there is no hanky panky or there is no violations of any acts and rules. The government officer who was investigating the affairs of the company was very intelligent, and he asked, the income tax department is concerned with the whether the company has paid tax on its legal income. Generally the tax is paid only on the legal income. So, but the memorandum of association checks whether the company was entitled to do the business from which he has earned the money. For example, a company object clause says that it is a manufacturing company, it will produce, manufacture and import, export, purchase or sale like that of different items. So it is a manufacturing company, but the company, besides the manufacturing company or instead of doing the activities of the manufacturing company, is running the business into non-banking financial company. So it is ultra vires the objects of the company. Next one, the fraudulently going to the National Company Law Tribunal for liquidation. If you see the balance sheets of the company, there are number of companies where there is outstanding dues towards the government as well as towards the creditors. So what the management do? They adopt a legal process. There is a legality that you can approach to the NCLT. Any creditor can approach to the National Company Law Tribunal for liquidation of a company if the company is unable to pay its debts. Now what the management do? In order to avoid the taxes or dues to the government as well as to the creditors, they generate a fake creditor, and petition with the Honorable National Company Law Tribunal is filed by the fake creditor to get the liquidate the said company or to get the order for liquidation of the said company. Now if the company is liquidated, there is a loss to the creditors as well as loss to the government in respect of revenues. So the company is creating the fake creditors and filing the petitions with the National Company Law Tribunal for liquidation of the company in order to avoid the losses, in order to avoid the dues towards the government as well as towards the creditors. So this is a procedural related fraud. Next one, drafting of scheme of merger and amalgamations. The delinquent directors, with the help of unscrupulous professionals, draft the scheme of merger and amalgamation in such a way to defraud the creditors as well as to cause the losses to the government of India in terms of revenue. For example, there are two companies, A and B. The A company is a profit making company while the B company is a loss making company. Now what the management do? They draft the scheme with the help of unscrupulous professionals to merge B with A or A with B. Generally, it is drafted, it is merged, B is merged into A. Once the B is merged into A, all the assets and liabilities are merged into A. So, the losses of B are adjusted against the profits of A. So, there is a loss to the revenue department as the profits are adjusted against the loss of the merged or the transferor company. So, this is the falsely or with malified intention to prepare and to approve the scheme of mergers and amalgamations. Now, there is a liberalization policy in the Indian economy to attract the foreign direct investments or to attract the foreign investors to invest the money into the activities of the company. Like during COVID-19, the government offered number of schemes and is planning to attract the foreign investors to invest their money in Indian market. Now, there are certain restrictions or prohibitions in which field a company cannot take the foreign direct investments, but the management with the help of again with the unscrupulous professionals, the delinquent directors form a company in which the FDI is allowed on automatic route and then creates another companies which companies have no worth except on a paper, except as a paper company or shell company. Now, the foreign direct investment, whatever the investment has been received through foreign investors is diverted from this company to the shell company against the fake sales orders, fake purchases orders or the shipping documents, like number of techniques are there to siphon the money from one company to another company. So, this is the foreign direct investments misuse, means misuse of foreign direct investments as it is a procedural related frauds. Then foreign exchange earnings is also a procedural related frauds. So, now friends, there are modus operandi of procedural lapses. Some of the methods adopted by the corporate sector for procedural lapses are: number one is public issue companies carrying on business ultra vires their object clause. Large size companies which are come up with the public issue earlier or which are planning to come up with a public issue misutilizes the public money in order to continue to remain in business, usually engage themselves fraudulently in pursuing the objects which are not the main objects of the company for which it was incorporated. So, this is the violation of the provisions of the section 139, section 13, subsection 9 of the Companies Act 2013. Such companies usually have large negative net worth, but wait for an opportune time on the basis of their large capital to attract the gullible investors into project ultra vires the objects. The next one, it is the frauds by companies with foreign direct investments and export earnings. The funds received through foreign direct investments route have to be seen with a critical eye. Why? Because the origin of the funds, from where we are getting the funds, has to be checked properly. The funds where substantial monies have been invested by the Indian partners will be the important parameter to determine whether such a company is prima facie likely to committing frauds. The modus operandi of such companies is to incur large money in software developments or technical know-how and to pay very high salaries to their managerial and top managerial personnel and grant of huge loans and advances particularly to their sister concerns, and such companies either earn negligible profits or incur losses. Such companies also siphon or divert funds of such projects where foreign direct investment is banned. So, this is the frauds by the company with foreign direct investments and export earnings. The third one is the companies engaged in investment in shares of listed or unlisted companies. Certain companies belonging to a group engage themselves in an investment in shares of other companies belonging to their group companies. Such shares are purchased at par value. The funds of a flagship company are routed through the investor company for investment in the investee company. After a short time holding of the shares of the investor company, they are sold to individuals who are directly who are directly related with the directors, or we can say who are the relatives of the directors of the investee company at a rock bottom price of say rupees 1 per share against the original investment of rupees 10 per share. In the process, the valuable public funds of a flagship company are systematically siphoned off through the aforesaid investment route, which finally ends up in the hands of a few individuals who maintain controlling interest in such group companies. This fraud goes undetected as no disclosures in this regard are made by any professionals who audit the accounts of the company. So, in procedural related frauds, the unscrupulous professionals help the delinquent directors to bypass the procedures. The next one is the companies fraudulently going into liquidation. Companies who have either public stakes or financial stakes by the banks or the financial institutions, after siphoning of the funds of the company, try to take immunity and seek cover of this fraudulent activity by obtaining winding up or the false winding up order from the National Company Law Tribunal. The applications are generally filed by the fake creditors who are the self-generated creditors by these entities. The motive of such companies is illegal. The investigation by professional bodies should be done before the winding up order is passed so as to bring to the book the culprits who have fraudulently siphoned the company's funds during the lifetime of the company and such promoters or directors. So, this is the procedural related fraud. The next one is the reference to the NCLT with the malified merger and amalgamation schemes. The merger and amalgamation schemes are prepared with an intention to defraud the creditors and to avoid the government dues. In some cases, the companies adopt the merger and amalgamation schemes with malified intention with a purpose to conceal material information and to defraud the creditors and approach the jurisdictional high courts, now the National Company Law Tribunals, for mergers and amalgamation, which can be termed as procedural frauds. The delinquent directors, in connivance with unscrupulous professionals, draft the scheme with an ulterior motive. So, these are the procedural lapses which an organization adopt in order to commit a fraud or in order to defraud the creditors, to defraud the shareholders, to defraud the investors for their personal use or the personal gain. This is all about the procedural related frauds. So, friends, these are the techniques or the modus operandi adopted by the delinquent directors or the unscrupulous professionals in connivance with the delinquent directors to manipulate the things in order to earn the money by bypassing the rules or the procedures which are applicable on a particular company. If you remember the definition, the explanation of section 447, where it is said that it is an act omission of act, it is also a procedural related frauds. Then concealment of information, it is also a procedural related fraud, because we are concealing certain informations while drafting the schemes of mergers. While we are inviting the money through public issue, but our intention is different. We are not using the money for the purposes for what purposes or which purposes it has been raised through the public. So, the procedural related frauds. For what purposes? For wrongful gain or wrongful loss. By whom? By the delinquent directors. By persons or with the help of persons. By delinquent directors or with the help of unscrupulous professionals with an intention. What is their intention? To earn the money from the public. So, this is the with an intention. What is the purpose? To deceive, to cheat. To whom? If the procedural related fraud is done through the foreign direct investments misuse, then to cheat the foreign investors. To injure, to whom the injure? The stakeholders of the company. If the foreign investment is brought into one company and that amount is transferred to another company, the stakeholders of the company in which the foreign direct investment has been received, the stakeholders are injured. and for wrongful gain, wrongful loss of delinquent directors. So, the explanation given under the Act under section 447, it is very inclusive definition. Since if you go to manipulation of frauds, manipulation of financial statements, you will find that the all the constituents, elements of explanation of fraud are covered for manipulation of financial statements. If you go for bribery and corruption, then again all the factors are constituents of the fraud as per bribery and corruption. Similarly, in procedural related frauds, the explanation of fraud given under section 447 says that fraud, it is an act, it is an omission, it is a concealment of information, abuse of position by any person with the connivance of any person with an intention to injure, to deceive, to cheat to the stakeholders of the company for any wrongful gain or wrongful loss. Friends, this is about procedural related frauds as one of the type of the corporate fraud. In my next video, I will cover the fifth one type of frauds, that is corporate espionage. If you like my video, please share it, like it or subscribe it. Thank you. Namaskar.